Hey, what's happening, y'all? Changed a little bit of the scenery, you feel me? I got rid of some of the stuff on the front. I felt like it was a little too distracting. And then I'm gonna change the backgrounds every now and then. It's just gonna be random backgrounds. So it's not always gonna be that locker room. I might bring it back next video though, because I really rock with it. But you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to try something different. But this is going to be a very random Redskins report. It's kind of a throwback to how I used to report, where I would bring in multiple topics and report them all in one video, because it's a bunch of random topics that technically I could expound upon them for longer in separate videos. But then at that point, it just looks like I'm just trying to get my views up, because some of these are literally like just mentioning it real quick. I could draw it out, but I'm not about to do y'all like that. And there were just so many random things I was hearing and seeing everywhere, so I felt like I just had to report them all. Some of them more important than others, you feel me? But we about to go ahead and get into this. Time to take it back to 2018 street scores. Let's get it. First of all, I wanted to point out that Ron Rivera is the only head coach that was fired in 2019 that ended up with a head coaching job for 2020. You have Jay Gruden, who was our head coach, of course. Now he's the Jaguars offensive coordinator. Jason Garrett, who was the Cowboys head coach for like ever. Now he's the Giants offensive coordinator, stayed in the division. Pat Shurmur, who was the Giants head coach last year, is now the Broncos offensive coordinator. And then you have Freddie Kitchens, who was the Browns head coach. He got demoted all the way to the Giants tight end coach. So it's kind of cool to see the NFC East clean house like this. The only team in the NFC East who still has the same head coach is the Eagles. And then I love the fact that Ron Rivera is the only ex-head coach to get a head coaching job for 2020. That means the Panthers really lost a good one and we picked them up. That also means that the Redskins, Giants, and Cowboys were tripping last year having those head coaches as their head coach, because they've been demoted. And the Browns went out the saddest. Their head coach is now just a tight ends coach. But speaking of coaches, I wanted to update y'all on where a lot of the 2019 Redskins coaches have ended up so far. I know we don't necessarily like to look into the past, but I feel like it's very interesting to know where a lot of people went that were literally just with us last year and having a big impact on the Redskins organization. So of course, like I said, head coach Jay Gruden is now the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars. Bill Callahan is back to coaching offensive lines. Now he's in Cleveland, so he's going to try to get that whole offensive line straight for Baker Mayfield so he can start to look like what he looked like his rookie season, because their offense mainly struggled because of their offensive line problems. You have Jarvis Landry and Odell, but with Baker Mayfield not having enough time to even throw it, it doesn't matter. And to me, it feels like the Browns are almost guaranteed to go offensive line, mainly tackle, in the first round of this NFL draft, and give Bill Callahan a new toy to work with so he can try to rebuild that great Cowboys offensive line he built a few years ago. And he had our Redskins offensive line just staying afloat, even amongst all of those crazy injuries. I mean, we were bringing in people off the street and our offensive line stayed competitive, and I'll always respect Bill Callahan for that. I'm more impressed with what he did with us as an offensive lines coach than the Dallas Cowboys with all of that talent the Cowboys had. Sadly for us, Jim Tomsula, who I feel like is a really good defensive lines coach, will now be the defensive lines coach for the enemy, the Dallas Cowboys. And that actually worries me some. They don't have as much talent as we have, especially after we draft Chase Young, but Jim Tomsula is a beast. I like him. But at the same time, with all of the talent we had, I still felt like our defensive line didn't produce to the level that they were supposed to. They never reached their potential. We got the most out of Matt Ioannidis, and I love that, but Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen haven't been as impactful as we expected them to be coming out of college. So we'll see about that. And then everybody else is still out there looking for a home. Like Rob Ryan just recently spoke on a radio show that he's still looking for a coaching gig. And I'm surprised he hasn't been swooped up yet, because I like him as a linebackers coach. I was sad that we let him go. I'm giving a lot of Cole Holcomb's development and Sean Dion Hamilton's progression credit to Rob Ryan. And I'm pretty sad that he's gone now. But yeah, everybody else, there's no exact update yet. I'll keep you posted once more of them get hired in other places, such as Ike Hilliard and everybody. Also, very interesting news, Ron Rivera and his coaching staff are meeting with scouts to assess the 2020 roster. So now they're about to sit down and have a really long talk and look at what we currently have on the Redskins roster heading into 2020. And then off of that, they will decide who they want to keep, who they'll release, and then that will lead to what our strengths and weaknesses are, what positions we need to fill, and this will be the basis for them building their big board for the NFL draft coming in late April. And again, just like my last video, based off of a lot of meetings they had with the East-West Shrine game and Senior Bowl and all of that type of stuff, and just based on what we currently have on the roster, expect the Redskins to be looking at defensive ends, linebackers, and cornerbacks this coming draft, and in free agency. And then on the offensive side of the ball, of course, they're going to be looking for offensive line depth, even if we re-sign Brandon Sheriff and Eric Flowers and bring back Trent Williams. And then, of course, the Redskins need another playmaker. In my taste, preferably a tight end, but we'll see though. I would love another playmaking receiver, but tight end is a huge need right now. And if I had my say, and if I could have it my way, I would get Austin Hooper in free agency and Randy Moss's son Thaddeus Moss later in the draft. And then see what Hell Hinges can do, and then give Jeremy Sprinkle this last chance. Moving on, the Redskins are planning to have Monster Jam and 3 summer concerts at Fedex Field, including 2 which will be performed in late August. But the big news out of this is that after those concerts, the Redskins will install a new field. We're not exactly sure on the updates of what the field is gonna be, grass or turf. It's more than likely gonna be grass, knowing Dan Snyder. But as soon as we get all of the details about what the field will be like and how the old one will be removed and how the new one will be added, I will definitely report that to y'all. But I'm glad to hear that we are getting a new field. Thank you. How long has it been? And it's crazy too, because I just made a video a few days ago about the Redskins needing to change their field, and then what were the best options and why, which one causes the least amount of injuries, all of that type of stuff. And I'm just glad to hear that Dan Snyder is taking another step towards making the Redskins a great organization. The front office changes with all of the hirings and firings, the coaching hirings and firings, and now field. Now we just need new jerseys. Also, one of those concerts will be Justin Bieber if any of y'all are interested. Felt like I should report that. I personally don't care, and I feel like a lot of y'all probably don't, especially with the demographic of who watches these videos. But you never know, somebody might really be rocking with Justin Bieber out here. I do like a couple of his songs that are like R&B like, but the poppy ones, nah kid, that just ain't my thing, bro. Now moving on, and this is great news. The Redskins 2019 rookie class has been crowned the best rookie class out of all 32 teams in the NFL. And not just by one major company and group of analysts, but 2. Pro Football Focus and ESPN voted the Redskins 2019 rookie class to be the best in the NFL. Shouts out to my boy Kyle Smith. We can see why he got that promotion. That man has been doing his thing with these drafts, bruh. And I don't want to be all arrogant and everything, but like, us Redskins fans knew this. I'm just glad that ESPN and Pro Football Focus acknowledged it, because usually they just ignore the great things we do because of all of the bad things that are also mixed in. And we normally don't get the credit we deserve. But with how great this 2019 rookie class was, they couldn't even deny it. I also feel like Ron Rivera's hiring and the culture change will actually have ESPN and NFL Network and all of those places actually showing us more respect. But that's a later discussion. But if you think about it, Dwayne Haskins and Montez Sweat in the first round. Come on now. Montez Sweat started going stupid towards the end of the year, and I'm very excited to see what he can do with Chase Young on the other side. Stop playing. And then Dwayne Haskins, those last few games before he got hurt, once Kevin O'Connell took over the offense, he started going stupid. And a lot of the potential that I saw from him at Ohio State started to finally blossom. And I'm expecting him to only get better and better, especially now that he's finally going to have an entire offseason where he is the man. And he's not going to be at training camp like my boy Skins Fans All Day says. Make sure y'all subscribe to him on YouTube. He's not going to be out here throwing to the punter in training camp like the Redskins had him. I mean, Dwayne Haskins basically had like no preparation, no coaching, no teaching, no reps, nothing that should have prepared him to be ready to start at any point in the 2019 season. And through all of that, he still started to ball out towards the end. Then you have Terry McLaurin. I ain't even gotta say too much concerning him. Y'all already know the deal. But to let y'all know, I am working on a Terry McLaurin tribute video. It's gonna have some of his highlights, some of his greatest moments. I'm gonna talk about his entire rookie season, and most importantly, I'm gonna discuss a lot of the crazy stats that he put up. And not just like numbers like yards and stuff, but things like his contested catch rate. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give y'all a hint. He had the best contested catch rate in the NFL, period. Not just rookies, but just period out of every receiver in the NFL. And it's a lot of stats like that I'm gonna cover in that video. But yeah, man, Terry McLaurin's already a top wide receiver in the league. He was the best rookie wide receiver in the league, especially with what he had to deal with all of the quarterbacks, and then there not being another receiver on the team that could truly take attention away from him. After a while, teams knew we were throwing it to Terry McLaurin. And then look at the resume he had with the cornerbacks he was doing it to. I mean, the best of the best. I'm going to talk about that in my Terry McLaurin video that I'm going to come out with. But he was out here catching bodies on the best of the best, and Stephon Gilmore was one of them. And then in the 4th round, you have Bryce Love and Wes Martin, and they may have given us some points for Bryce Love's potential, because Bryce Love could be a top 10 running back in this league. We'll see. If he stays healthy, I don't think people really understand or remember how great Bryce Love should be if he fully recovers from his ACL injury. And then you have Wes Martin, who stepped in from Brandon Sheriff at points during the end of the year, and he shined. He looked really good out there. I still want Brandon Sheriff back, of course, but Wes Martin's great depth is ridiculous. He can go and start on any offensive line in this league, and having him as a depth piece just isn't fair, especially once he starts to develop more. Then you have Rosh Pirschbacher and Cole Holcomb in the 5th round. And Rosh Pirschbacher, even though he didn't really get to show it, I do love his potential, because at Alabama, he showed that he can literally play anywhere on the offensive line. And that's a great depth piece to have. And thank goodness, because our offensive line depth has been tragic the past few years. And as soon as he develops, for him to be able to just plug and play anywhere is going to be great. But I'm pretty sure ESPN and Pro Football Focus didn't give us points for him yet. But I just wanted to acknowledge his potential. Then you have Cole Holcomb. Ridiculous rookie campaign. Led all rookies in tackles in 2019, regardless of position. He is great at everything you need him to do but coverage. And he's not terrible at coverage, but he could definitely use a lot of work. But as far as stopping the run and plugging gaps and being proactive rather than reactive, Cole Holcomb's got it already, and he's only getting better. And I'm sure that had a lot to do with why Pro Football Focus and ESPN gave us the best rookie class of 2019 award. Then you have Kelvin Harmon, who we didn't even get to really show like that. He had a couple of highlights. He had that one-handed catch. He had some great plays, but he wasn't out there just #1 receiver balling, but he has that type of potential. And even on the draft day, us getting him in the 6th round was crowned one of the biggest steals of the draft from various sports analysts and articles and everything around the league. But after Terry McLaurin got hurt, those last couple of games, Kelvin Harmon truly turned into a problem. And we really saw what he could be for us. He's literally like a 6'2" Pierre Garçon. And I feel like this year will be his year coming up. We already know about Steven Sims, who was killing it those last few games also, especially that Dallas game. They couldn't even cover him to save their lives. And we already know how great Terry McLaurin is. But Kelvin Harmon really showed us something in those last couple of games. And I can't wait to see what he does in 2019. And I'm pretty sure Pro Football Focus and ESPN saw what he did against the Cowboys that last game of the season. And then in round 7, we have Jimmy Moreland and Jordan Brailford. Jordan Brailford ended up going to IR, the injured reserve, very early. Didn't get to play a single game, but I do like him as a depth piece. But then my boy Jimmy Moreland, man, he was a steal in the 7th round. And I'm pretty sure Jack Del Rio is going to love him. Jack Del Rio loves press man corners that are very confident, have a very short memory, very aggressive, handsy, all of that. In my opinion, I feel like Quinn Dunbar can be the Aqib Talib, and Jimmy Moreland can be the Chris Harris that Jack Del Rio had in Denver with the Broncos. I feel like Jimmy Moreland's potential is really that high, and I feel like Pro Football Focus and ESPN definitely acknowledge that. So don't forget about Jimmy Moreland, but also don't forget about Brailford, because in the Senior Bowl, that spin sack he had was crazy.
Yes, they need the 42 for the first down.
His potential is pretty high also, but with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, possibly Ryan Anderson, if he's not the Sam, he may just be a depth piece at edge rusher. Then you have Nate Orchard, who I hope we bring back, and then maybe Ryan Kerrigan. We'll see where Jordan Brailford fits into all of this, but he's going to be exciting to keep an eye on during training camp. But I think the biggest thing out of this rookie class is how much production we got out of the rookies as a whole. Out of the 10 picks we made, we got good to great production out of 8 of them. A lot of rookies, especially those late round rookies, don't even see the field at all. But not only did we have our rookies on the field, our rookies were out there balling as a whole. Not even just individually. And that's why we were awarded the best rookie class of 2019. We got production out of a lot of them in various places. I can't remember the exact stat, but the Redskins were the first team in like all kinds of years, I think it was over 20 years or something like that, to have a rookie starting quarterback and 3 rookie receivers starting at the same time. And we were out there putting pressure on people. We weren't out there winning games all the time, but those 4 rookies, the quarterback and the 3 receivers, were really hurting some people. I mean, we beat the Panthers, who we shouldn't have beaten. We had a really close game with the Packers, who made it all the way to the NFC Championship with all of the injuries we had. And the thing that's just scaring me right now is that we didn't even have the number 2 overall pick last year. We were getting this type of production out of late round picks, and that's what I love the most about Kyle Smith. He makes every pick matter. It doesn't matter if we have the 2nd overall pick or a 6th rounder. He's gonna find a guy who can contribute immediately no matter what round it is. And so I'm so excited to see what we do after we draft Chase Young. Because for me, all of those trade back scenarios are great. And I love them. They're excellent backup plans. And I'm not mad either way, but I definitely prefer Chase Young. So for me, the draft starts at the 3rd round. And I can't wait to see what Kyle Smith, Ron Rivera, and everybody puts together as far as a 2020 draft class. I'm very excited. And again, I'm glad that the Redskins are finally getting the credit that they deserve. And I'm glad Kyle Smith got that promotion he deserved. But ESPN and Pro Football Focus both know what's up. They usually have very different point of views on various topics, but even they both can agree that the Redskins had the best rookie class of 2019, and that's just that on that. And just my last 2 things that I want to report, check out this Reuben Foster video. Just really random, something real small.
I'm a football player for the National Football League. Play for Washington Redskins right now. As I speak right now, you know, Washington Redskins 56. Y'all gonna see me soon because I just got some work done for stem cells.
Reuben Foster sounds very optimistic about his chances playing very soon. He just now started regaining feeling in his foot, so hopefully he will be ready to go. I really hope so, man. I'm so excited about his potential in our defense. But as we've seen from what the Redskins have been doing so far this offseason, they're planning a future without him just in case he may not be ready. They've met with all kinds of linebackers, including Malik Harrison, who may not even make it to our 3rd round pick. I talked about that in my previous video and went into a little bit further detail about who Malik is and what he's good at and what he's bad at. Y'all can go check that out in my previous video. And then lastly, I just want to shout out my boy Tress Way for representing us well at the Pro Bowl. He looked like he was having so much fun. He was enjoying everything he could. They had him mic'd up at times and he was funny. You've been deserved that Pro Bowl visit, Tress Way, and I expect you to get more. I mean, in the 2018 season, you even broke a few records or did things that punters haven't done in at least like 20 years, and you still didn't make the Pro Bowl. They was just hating on you, bruh. I'm so sorry you had to be on the 2018 Redskins. But now it's the 2020 Redskins, and just like I said earlier with ESPN and Pro Football Focus acknowledging that our 2019 rookie class was the best in the NFL, that means you shouldn't be overlooked anymore. Especially, I mean, once you make it to the Pro Bowl, it's kind of a popularity contest at times, and since you've already made it, it'll be easier for you to make it next year. But also with Ron Rivera and the culture changing, and with people outside of the Redskins organization finally going to be respecting the Redskins and a lot of the things that we do and actually giving us the credit we deserve, I'm assuming that you should make more Pro Bowls in the future. So man, shouts out to my boy Tress Way, man, for putting on for the city out there. That was just an old-fashioned Redskins report from your boy Street Scores. Had to do it to him. Various topics I wanted to talk on, and like I said earlier, I didn't want to just drag on about each topic and make each one a different video. Could've for more views, but I'm never gonna do y'all like that. It's not about the views. I want to give y'all the best content possible, you feel me? And I felt like it was better to consolidate it all into one video, and there you go, man. Appreciate the view. Please like the video if you learned anything. Please subscribe if you haven't. There's a button literally at the bottom right of your screen. It's a little green Street Scores logo. All you have to do is click that to subscribe, man. And like I said, endless Redskins, news, opinions, mock drafts, all of that. And even if you're not a Redskins fan, I have infinite draft talk coming. I'm going to have film sessions, mock drafts, all of that. And like I said in the previous video, I do plan on getting a live stream scheduled for y'all. But I want to make sure I get this poll system down, because I want to make sure whatever I live stream, I want y'all to have input in whatever the topic is. So I want to be able to have like a poll on the screen, and when y'all do y'all votes, you'll see like a graph showing the votes going up and everything, and we'll see the clear winner with like an illustration, something drawn, something colorful, something that you can visualize. I want my live streams to revolve more around how y'all feel about things. Y'all already know how I feel in videos, and of course I'm talking to you on camera, but I also want to know how y'all feel about certain things. So just like how we did with the mock draft, where I let y'all basically pick each pick for the first round for all of the teams that pick in the first round, I'm trying to think of a topic that I can do in another live stream where y'all input can dictate the answers or the opinions that we're gonna finalize, or whatever, however we end up doing it. But again, thank y'all for the support. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.